What is up, you guys? The Dark Knight here, back with another action figure review, and today we're taking a look at two different figures. On the left side, we have the McFarlane Toys Page Punchers Damian Wayne Robin, based on his appearance in Batman Reborn, and on the right, we have the DC Multiverse Batman, based on his appearance in Batman Reborn. Before we start the review, I would ask you guys, if you're so inclined, to please hit the like button and subscribe. It really does help my channel, and it's absolutely free. Take a look at the packaging for both these figures over here. On the right side, for the Batman based on the Batman Reborn, he does have a pretty standard packaging that we've seen with all the other DC Multiverse figures. You got the window box showing off the figure, and on the side over here, the window box continues with, the continued labeling all around. Batman Reborn there, and then on the back, a really cool piece of artwork here with both Batman and Robin, and this is from the Batman and Robin storyline based on Batman Reborn. So these are the two characters that we're taking a look at today in figure form. And then on the bottom there, you got some legalese, and the very bottom, some more legalese. But for this packaging over here, this is a little bit different to what we're kind of accustomed to, because this is technically a different lineup. This is part of DC Direct's Page Punchers lineup, still by McFarlane Toys, but we have a more clamshell looking packaging, and this is a double of the figure that I already have, and I don't know, I'm not really a fan of this sort of packaging because there's no real way to open it without completely destroying the box. So that's the reason why I have a second one over here. And overall, I just don't like the fact that it's so much plastic, right? I do like it when they have a bit more of the cardboard involved in the packaging. But it's a cool, window box showing off the figure. It shows off all of its accessories. Then Robin down there, includes a comic book. So that's the other thing about this figure here, is that it is a little bit more expensive than the regular DC Multiverse lines, but it does come with a comic book. And so you can see the comic book back here. It's pretty cool. It's just a reprint of the comic, but taking a look at it here, you can see that, it's got the entire story. It's a reprint of the comic. So I think that's a very cool thing. When you get your figures, you want to open them and see, what they were based on, what their designs were based on. Maybe you could do a couple of different poses that reflect, the story that it was a part of. But anyway, cool looking packaging, just not a huge fan of it being all plastic. Taking a look at Robin to start off over here. I think it's good to mix it up a little bit, because we always, take a look at Batman all the time, seeing as he's like the most popular character of the DC Multiverse. But yeah, it's great to see Damian Wayne here in his Batman Reborn look. We have gotten like previous Damian Waynes before, but this has always been, my favorite version of the character, because if I'm not mistaken, this was the first, appearance of him as Robin. This was the first costume that he wore. But taking a look at his accessories that he comes with over here, obviously it does come with the comic that I showed off earlier, but he does have a sword over here, which is pretty cool, because Damian Wayne came from the League of Assassins, so he does have a sword. And then it comes with the Professor Pig mask, which I think is such a cool thing. And as you can see, you can put it together there, and it would pretty much perfectly match. So if you wanted to, you could glue this together and you could make a custom figure of it on your own. I don't know if you would include it either, but it does come with the trading card and the base over here. And in this case, with that packaging, it is pretty easy to take off, because, pretty much you're going to throw out the packaging anyway. So I did take out the card and the base on this one here. And yeah, there's the bio if you want to pause it. Robin here does look pretty darn good. I will say that the sculpting on this figure, and for the most part, the paint-ups, is really like top notch. And I say that because I don't really see any paint defects or any of that around the figure. And yeah, it's not super paint detailed, but the colors really pop on this Robin figure especially. But yeah, you can see that it comes with the hood here that's out of the cloth material, and the wire in it is bendy, so you can do all the different effects with it. So I call that a plus. I've never had a figure yet that has a opposable hood. But that's pretty cool. But yeah, there's a bendy wire that goes up to here, and then it kind of cuts off, and then it goes around to the other end here. And of course, the cape is also wired as well too. But yeah, head sculpt is great. Looks very accurate to the comic. I remember reading the Batman and Son comic, and this looks pretty accurate to what Damian Wayne looked like in that series. But yeah, you got the R there that is printed on, unfortunately. You got a bit of cell shading going on, just to help enhance all the wrinkles going throughout the suit. So I think that's pretty cool. The belt's good looking. You got the gauntlets here, which are great. The rest of the legs here look pretty good. Shoes look pretty good as well too. And yeah, it's got a cloth cape, a bit of a shiny material on the outside, more matte on the inside. And in this case, the wire does go all the way throughout the cape, so it allows you for even more playability with that. So yeah, pretty great stuff. Articulation on this figure is pretty standard stuff when it comes to McFarlane's, multiverse line. Head can move up about that much. It can move down. It can move side to side, pivot. You can go out about that much. It can go up, down, bicep swivel. Double jointed elbows. Got some wrist articulation there, which is on the ball peg, so you can swivel it, hinge it up or down or side to side, whatever you want. And then he does have an ab crunch in here, although it doesn't look like he does. But you can, it's a little bit of a diaphragm looking joint, so it's within the waist area, I would actually say. So you can, get some articulation in on there. Of course, cape is bendy wires, so you can pose that however you like. Kick forward by that much, you can kick back, then it goes on an angle. You can do the splits like that. Double jointed knees, which goes in about that far. And you do have ankle articulation, which is on a ball peg, so you can move it up, down, pivot, everything you like. And then, of course, the toe articulation. As for Batman over here, as you guys may not know, this is not Bruce Wayne. This is Dick Grayson Batman. And so if you may not know, Dick Grayson is Nightwing, and he was originally the first Robin. And so, yeah, you may be asking, why is Dick Grayson Batman? Isn't Bruce Wayne Batman? And, well, it came from this story that was called Final Crisis. And within that story, it was the Justice League going up against Darkseid. And so Batman ended up sacrificing himself to defeat Darkseid. And Darkseid shot his Omega beams to Batman, which killed him, but so it didn't. It ended up transporting him back in time, and he had to find his way back. It's really confusing stuff, but, thank Grant Morrison for that. But that left, Gotham without Batman for a while, and so through this story called Battle for the Cowl, different members of the Bat family ended up battling for the Cowl. I think it was between Tim Drake, Jason Todd, and Dick Grayson, and Dick Grayson ended up, becoming the Batman. It was a pretty great read. I would highly suggest it to you guys to actually go through all that lore. But for this figure over here, this time at least, comes with extra hands. So that's at least a good thing with this guy. You do get the two open hands here, and then the two the grabby hands. And these are reused from like the old Nightfall Batman bucks, so nothing too crazy, but it's at least good to get them. As for other accessories, it does come with the trading card and the base, but that's like within the packaging that you gotta rip it out and then destroy the packaging with. So I don't do that sort of thing with the DC Multiverse figures. But taking a look at the figure over here, I gotta say, this is some pretty good stuff I'm looking at over here. I believe that the artist who worked on this version of Batman goes by the name of Frank Quietly. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correct, so I'm sorry if I'm not. But he has a pretty distinct looking artwork, and I think he was translated very well in this head sculpt. And I say head sculpt because the rest of this body is pretty much all reused except for the diaper piece over here. So yeah, the head sculpt looks great. It does look like there is a Dick Grayson under there. He does come with the wired cape, and this time around, other than the Batman 66 figure I took a look at, you can go ahead and check out that video after you're done this one. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's a little bit longer, so I'm a really big fan of this. Same material as the last one, a bit more matte on the inside, and then a little bit more shinier on the outside. Great stuff, except as you can see with the last figure review, yeah, we are getting a bit more of those creases from the packaging. So I would highly advise McFarlane to, be conscious of that. You get the printed bat signal on here, and this is one of my favorite bat signals of all time. And that's the one that pretty much existed on the pre 52 Batman. It's kind of like the Hush look and everything. I'm waiting for them to do a new Hush Batman with this body book and the wired cape, because I think that would turn out amazing. This is the closest thing we got to yet. But you do get the belt over here, which is unique to the Batman and Robin Batman Reborn storyline. You got the undies there. You get the gauntlets over here, which I was never a huge fan of this. I don't understand why they only did the 2 fins on this. I'm guessing because that's like a thing that Nightwing's more, used to. But, I prefer the 3-finned one. And, you want the gauntlets going all the way up to the elbow. Like, come on, man. How are you going to defend yourself against bullets? But for the fists over here, it's a little bit different. It's not actual fists. He does have like a bit of a brass knuckle on there, which is cool. So, give Dick Grayson the extra punch when he's fighting against criminals. And then the boots are the same thing as the other ones. You get the 2 peg holes, and yeah, pretty great stuff. As for articulation, once again, it's pretty much, you know, standard DC Multiverse figure articulation. 22 moving parts. Head goes up about that much. It can move down, move side to side. You can pivot it. The arms do have a butterfly joint this time around, so you can, you know, move it all around like that. And then out that much, up, down, bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, which can move in about that far. You do have some wrist articulation, which is a swivel and a hinge. And I will say, I do like how the gauntlets on this kind of hide the ball joint that's in there. That's some really great stuff and doesn't really hinder the articulation and doesn't break up the sculpt. So major plus on that. He does have a diaphragm joint here along with a waist, joint as well too. So you can hinge it around like that, swivel it around. You can kick up about that much. You can probably get more. It's just, I don't want to break the figure. You can go back and out. He does have the splits over here, which can go about that much. And then he does have the knee articulation, which goes about that much there. And then some ankle articulation on a ball joint, which, again, like the gauntlets, is part of the boot. So it doesn't break up the sculpt. I really like that. You can hinge it down, up, pivot it like crazy, which is actually really good. And then you got some toe hinge articulation there as well too. As for some comparisons I got here, we do have the my long time running Damian Wayne in my collection. This is a really old one. This was back when the DC animated films for the New 52 were coming out. So this was part of Son of Batman, and so this was my Damian Wayne for the longest time. For some reason, we just never got any Damian Wayne figures until, you know, McFarlane Toys came around, because I think DC Direct only did a couple, and I think Mattel might have done one at the very end. But yeah, it was an okay figure, you know, not the greatest thing ever. So this is definitely a massive step up to this, and also, you know, a little bit bigger in scale. Now, I don't know how you guys feel about that with, you know, him being a bit taller. But, you know, I think the height between the 7-inch figures, that's pretty good. I think this was originally 6-inch, so, you know, do with that as you must. But over here we got a bit of an older one, which I also did a review on many years ago. And look at that too. This was also part of the 80 years of Batman. And so now we're at the 85th anniversary of Batman, and you got a brand new Batman Reborn figure here. But yeah, if you guys want to see a little bit of how these two, you know, compare, yeah, I think we came a long way from the Mattel days. You know, there were still some parts of Mattel that I really liked, but I just think we're better off with McFarlane, man. Like, let's not return to this. Although I do like the packaging. The packaging is pretty cool in this. But yeah, that's, you know, the comparison I have for that. Some older figures. Yeah, this I can definitely retire this Robin now. In terms of their height, so you can compare it to some figures you have at home. As we can see over here, Dick Grayson Batman stands at 7 inches just at the tip of the ears. Over here we can see that Damian does stand at just about exactly 6 inches tall. All right, so final thoughts on these figures. I really do think that these two are great as a set. But with that being said, you know, these are like part of McFarlane's like peak sort of sculpts that they've had over the past few years that they've had the DC license. And I will say that this is now my favorite Damian Wayne figure of all the Damian Wayne figures that have come out. I'm not really a huge fan of his look in the newer, you know, sort of comics and that. And this one, at least sculpting wise, is really good, especially for the art that they base it off of. If you're looking for a Damian Wayne Robin, this is 100% the Damian Wayne Robin to get. I highly suggest you guys pick up this figure. And I think that it's been a good amount of time of waiting for a good Damian Wayne Robin figure, so this is really great. I will say, though, with the Dick Grayson Batman Reborn Batman, it's great if you absolutely love that version of him, but I feel like people are really hyping up this Batman just because it's the classic black and gray Batman with the wired cape and with the Nightfall sculpt and all that. And yeah, it's a great figure to have, but I have a strange feeling we have something better coming. So just if you guys love Dick Grayson's Batman, this is the one to get. But if you're looking for that classic, iconic looking Batman, just wait a little bit longer. I think we're going to get it soon, because this is just so damn close to the perfect Batman figure, man. But if you do want to get it as a set and you love that run of Batman and Robin with these two together, this is the perfect freaking dynamic duo, man. This is awesome. I love this so much. And I love the fact that we're getting the wired capes once again. If I were to give these figures a rating, I would probably give Robin probably a solid 9 out of 10. I will say there are some, articulation. I've noticed, posting him around, that he can't really get as much articulation with, doing any crouching poses or that sort of stuff, because in the comics he was known to like be very agile. And yeah, I feel like I can't really get that much articulation out of the legs with it, which kind of sucks. And also, I wish that we did get more hand accessories so that he could hold the sword in his other hand and that sort of thing. So it's very, very close to perfect. Maybe one day we will get the perfect Robin, Damian Robin from McFarlane Toys. But as for the Batman, it's not my personal favorite incarnation Batman, although I do really like it. So I feel like a solid, 7, 8 out of 10 is good for that figure. But again, if you are a big fan of the Dick Grayson Batman, this is the figure to get. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Did you like this comic storyline between Dick Grayson and Damian Wayne? And as every YouTuber begs you to do, please like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.